Hi, let's look at these sentences from Chapter 3. We'll go through them in a little more detail. And we're going to start with the practice and review. Sentence 1. Step 1. Read it all the way through in Latin. Filium nautae Romani in agris videmus. Step 2. Find the verb. Very often it's going to be at the end. And here it is, videmus. And let's analyze it. It's first person plural, present, active, indicative. And the subject, so that's number 2. Number 3, find the subject. In this case, it's contained in the verb. Well, it's always contained in the verb, but let's ask ourselves, is there another word that can be used for the subject? And the answer is no. There's no other, in this case, there's nothing else in the nominative. Step 4, find the direct object. There it is, filium. It is accusative, singular, masculine. So right now, if we take these first 4 steps, we've got the lion's share of our translation right here. We see the sun. Period. Now, whatever happens next, don't change it. Now we've got to deal with this nautae, the Romanis. Oh, in agris. We'll put that in parentheses. It's a prepositional phrase. In agris, in the fields. Hopefully that's easy enough. This is ablative, plural, masculine, and in takes the ablative. Fine. What do we do with nautae Romani? Well, let's analyze. What are the possibilities for nautae? It could be, remember, let's look over here. Remember our endings. AE, AM, A with a macron, AE, aurum, is, as, is. In other words, we're trying to figure out what part of speech this is, and position doesn't help us like it does in English. We have to look at the ending in Latin, because remember, this part is the nominative is the subject. This one shows, the genitive shows possession. This one is the dative, and it's for indirect objects. This is the accusative, and it's for direct objects. And this is the ablative. It's for a handful of other uses, usually like prepositional phrases. Let's just put that down for now. It's a bit complicated, but we'll get there. So this is how we have to determine what it is. How to use it in the sentence. Nautae. How do we use this in the sentence? Well, our options are, and if we highlight them, that might be helpful. Let's highlight them in orange. Our options are AE. Well, that's not a highlighter. That's fine. We'll go AE, AE, AE. So our options are, it could be dative genitive singular, which shows possession. It could be dative singular, which shows indirect object. Or it could be nominative plural. Now let's look at Romani. Could be, and if we look at the possible endings here, it could be us, o, e, aurum, is, os, is. So it could be this. There's just to be consistent here. So the options are in this case genitive singular, or it could be nominative plural. Now here's the trick. Here's the part that you may be missing. Nautae and Romani do not look like they go together. But if you remember, nautae is a masculine noun, and Romani has masculine endings. And where do these two go together? Right here. Admittedly, it could be the nominative plural. But based on its position, because we're not talking about we sailors, based on its position, the genitive often comes right after a noun. We're going to say the son of the Roman sailor. So putting this all together, we see the son of the Roman sailor in the fields. Let's go on to number 2. Number 1, read it in Latin. Maybe I should write these down. Read in Latin. Pueri puellas hodie vocant. Great. Number 2, find the verb. Vocant. Oftentimes it's going to be at the end. Number 3, find the subject. Now pay attention. This is a part that I want to be sure is clear. We know from this ending here that the verb nt, it's a plural. And left to itself, all by itself, if you are to see wohnt all by itself, you would say, hey, the subject is they. But they is a pronoun. They is a placeholder. Is there anything else we can use in this sentence that can be the real subject? In other words, instead of this pronoun that we've been using for wohnt, is there anything in the nominative case that can be a proper noun or a noun that stands in for they? And sure enough, pueri. Pueri is nominative, plural, masculine. So, the boys call. Now, nothing you do with this sentence is going to change. That's your subject here, boys, and wohnt is your verb. The boys call. Number 4, find the direct object. In other words, find something in the accusative case that the boys can call. Well, here you are, this AS, as you remember from the screen before, this AS right here is your accusative plural. Boys call girls. This is accusative, plural, feminine, and hodie is just an adverb that means today. So the boys call the girls today. Let me give you a little cheat. First, last. Oftentimes, it will work. I've said about a zillion times, and I will continue to say because it holds true, that Latin word order doesn't matter. However, there are some general patterns that work a lot of the time. For example, the verb is regularly going to be at the end, and the subject is going to be at the very beginning. So, you look at this sentence, number 2, the girls call. Great. You've got your subject and verb right there. And I would suggest trying that when you get stuck in any of the other ones. Just for fun, let's go through these sentences and see how many have the first, last, subject, verb. No, not in this one. The subject is, the first word is accusative. Number 4, multi-weary. Okay, admittedly, there's an adjective in front of it, but many men conservant. First, last, many men call. Oh, and look here. Look, there's a T and an et. Many men and women. So we can quickly expand it if we need to. But the first, last pretty much works here. If anger is strong, we're going to leave that alone because it begins with an if. And this one, we err and we pay the price. Notice that if we is the subject, in other words, if the verb ends in an mus, there's probably not going to be a separate word for the subject. Fortuna amat. There you go. First, last. Fortune loves. Agricola dat. There you go. The farmer gives. First, last. We'll skip these English ones because I just want to give you a little hint here. You ought. That changes the word order altogether. And that's okay, so we'll pass over that one. Maecenas has. There we go. Again, first, last. Maecenas has. The book warns. Oh, well, this is a plural. Oh, book and. Notice this is an and here. Oh, the book and this, they do that. You don't even have to translate it. Just get the verb, the subject and verb out there. Pauci, student. Well, pauci, strictly speaking, isn't the verb. Isn't the noun, it's the adjective. So we can go to the second word, but this is acceptable. I think you'll get my point. Well, technically, pauci is not the subject. Weary. Okay, few men, student, are eager for. Fortuna, terat. There you go. There's your sentence. Fortune frightens. And then build it from there. Fortune does not frighten. Number 6, Simon has. Or kimon, we would pronounce it in Latin. Simon has. That is your sentence. Build from there. Semper. Okay, semper just means always. Well, this one's fairly easy. The avarus eget. Nulla copia. Again, the nulla modifies copia. Again, okay. Admittedly, the first word is an adjective, but the second word, no supply, satisfies. The first, last. All I'm doing is trying to present to you a cheat, a way to understand how Latin sentences are organized. Pecunia irritat. Number 10. This is a imperative, so we're going to pass over that. And number 11. Remember what I said. When the verb is mus, when the verb ends in mus, in other words, the first person plural, oftentimes it's not going to be there's not going to be a separate word for the subject. And that's it for now. But again, number one, I wanted to go through the first two sentences to give you some detailed approach to how to these sentences. And number two, I wanted to show you first last. And when I say it's a cheat, it's not really a cheat. It is a genuine way that many Roman sentences are constructed. So keep working on these. We're quickly moving on to chapter 4, of course, but I want to be sure you get these basics down before we jump right into chapter 4. If you have any questions, as always, let me know.